Hello, my dreamers and believers. It's your girl, Latina Raven, and this show is called On the Way to Famous. On this show, we take you on a journey with the artists and bring them from back to their humble beginnings and follow their story from dream to reality and all the struggles in between. So today I'm excited because my guest today has traveled the world scaring people with his amazing talent, making appearances on America's Got Talent, Penn and Teller's Fool Us, Cake Boss, and many more. His twisted humor is one of a kind, and he is known as the Alice Cooper of magic. Because of my next guest, magic no longer sucks. Welcome to my show, the anti-conjurer, shock illusionist, Dan Sperry. How are you, Dan?
Hey, I'm all right, thanks. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. So take us back to when you was little Dan and tell us what he was like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, probably like any, normal kid growing up. I'm originally from Minnesota, right? So grew up around a lot of lakes and a lot of hockey and a lot of hunting and ice fishing, stuff like that. But also I watched my friends and I would watch wrestling, played video games and all that. And then as we got older, kind of got more into horror movies and stuff. And I liked Universal Studios monsters when I was young. I was the old like black and white, like Frankenstein and stuff like that. And yeah, that's kind of what I was into. I mean, outside of just magic tricks, I was into that sort of thing when I was younger. Yeah.
So did you know at a young age that you wanted to be a magician, or did you have other plans?
I didn't really know to what degree could you be like a professional, or I don't want to use that word, but like make a career, out of magic. I didn't know at what degree can that be real, I guess. Like I don't know how to describe it, outside of like seeing someone like David Copperfield on TV or whatever. How is that even a thing? Is that what people do for a living? I don't know. So I thought maybe I wanted to maybe be an animator at Disney. Was something, because I was really influenced by Disney and I'm a big Disney nerd. So I was thinking maybe I'll be an animator for Disney. I don't know, or maybe a special effects makeup artist for horror movies. Like I remember having like Fangoria magazines and seeing ads for like Tom Savini's school or something, and all that, So I didn't really know, but then um, once like I got older, it wasn't like I decided, that's what I was gonna do. It just kind of happened. It just unfolded that way. And there's this saying like that I've heard people use before, where it's they didn't find magic, magic found them, and that could probably be applied to a lot of people that do other things, whether they are a horror makeup artist. That's what found them. They just fell into it, and it just happened. And that's kind of like the way it was. I just started doing shows, and I didn't really ever think about or worry about something else. I mean, I did go to university, right? That was to like appease my parents, like
Yeah.
that. I could do something more legit if I had to, right? But that was never something that I thought I would end up doing.
Right.
I just kind of knew, and I just kind of trusted and stayed the course. Just kept doing what I was doing, and it's just you kind of just you make it's almost like a survival mode. You find a way to make it work. You know what I mean?
Yes. So Disney villains or the actual princesses, like which ones would you prefer?
Um, man, the 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 villains, I always appreciated how they created, how they wrote the villains, even in adapting some of the old, like, Brothers Grimm stories, or uh what's the other fairy tale, I can't remember their names. It's like, it's Brothers Grimm, or like, it's so and so and so and so. I forget their names. I'm totally blanking on it. The guys that did like Cinderella, Roger and Hammerstein, I think is the name, right? And so, like, taking like the dark evilness of what those villains were in those stories, but adding like some whimsy to them, so they're a little more palatable, for young kids. Obviously, they got to be palatable for younger kids. So, like, I always kind of liked the villains more. I remember I thought Prince John in the animated Robin Hood was, because he was just a dopey idiot, but just kind of funny in a way, a big man child sucking on his thumb all the time. Just the way they adapted those little things to, uh, make it, yeah, just make it palatable, whimsical, and silly for younger kids. I liked Madam Mim from Sword in the Stone, that kind of crazy, pink-haired witch, I guess, the opposite of Merlin, in a way. That sort of thing. Captain Hook was a big influence on me, and I was a big fan of his work. So yeah. So more so, I like, the villains in that aspect, but the princes or princesses and main characters, I've always liked as well too. Yeah.
So that was gonna be my next question. I was gonna ask you who influenced you, like who inspired you to be what you've become.
Yeah, I don't have like just one uh influence, I guess. I saw, a lot of these sort of, yeah, villains or whatever you want to call them in Disney movies, or I read a lot about pirates when I was a kid. I was really fascinated with pirates and all that. So I thought being a pirate was cool. I thought at one point, even when I was really young, I should grow up and be a pirate. Like, how cool would that be? Not really realizing, that that's not really a thing, and the repercussions aren't just, rum and buried treasure. Like, they were actually like bad people. But as a kid, and so, but yeah, pirates. That was like early on, and like I said, like the Universal Studios monster movies. I remember watching, like, Dark Crystal and some of those Muppety, type movies. Now, like, I look back and I'm like, "God, that's terrible. I can't watch it," but like Labyrinth or whatever,
I
you
love
know.
the library. Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty good though. I mean, it
But
gives you a little chuckle.
yeah, and so, and then getting older too. Um, I remember my mom was an English teacher, and she actually went to England to teach. She was a teacher in England, and I wasn't there with her. I was too young. I couldn't go. And so, but she would, send me stuff, and talking to her on the phone. And I remember her trying to describe to me what a punk was, you know, and I didn't get it, but it sounded kind of like a pirate, in a way. And so I was like way into what that was all about. And then as I got older and realizing, and finding that sort of genre of music with like listening to the Ramones and stuff, uh they were big, but I also would listen to like the Doors, or I saw a video of Arthur Brown, and I was like, what is this? This is just crazy bananas. And so even things like that, as I got older and I had the means to look up stuff, the internet certainly helped, because now I could go on LimeWire or whatever, and find all kinds of stuff. And that's what I did pretty much.
Yeah, we had encyclopedias back then if we wanted information. So I'm a little older than you.
Oh, right. I mean, we saw that as well, but like, to access these, musical genres and find the bands that, you only have maybe heard about, because you can't go to a Best Buy and get their CD or something, because they
I
just,
know, I miss
they wouldn't
those.
carry it, right? So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So then I noticed in your shows, you have like a lot of rock and a lot of metal, and I love that stuff. I love that stuff. So how is it that you choose your music for your shows?
That, that it's a uh, it's an interesting process. Sometimes, you'll hear a song and I'll be like, yeah, I could see doing this because maybe I've had this idea of a magic trick I wanted to do, right? But not knowing how to present it because music is an important part of it, and finding just the right song. And so um I may have had this idea but not found the right music, and then all of a sudden I'll hear a song and be like, oh, that's what I've been waiting for. That'll fit perfect,
Mm.
and so that's one way. That's actually the easier way. The harder way is hearing a song and then it's like a waiting game. Almost the opposite, in my opinion, in
Mm.
that like there's been some times where I've had a song in mind and been like, I know I want to use this for something, but I just don't know what yet. And then it's just trying to wait until then, like I said, the opposite, like then an idea for a trick or a bit will come along, and then it's like, oh yeah, that song I've been wanting to use, that'll work perfectly in here. Hopefully, it'll fit, the mood and everything like that.
So bringing you back a little bit, when you decided that you wanted to be a magician, like some other little boys that run around the house, they'll do magic tricks. Did you like perform for your family? Did you perform at school? Like, how did you start with that?
Yeah, a little bit. There wasn't, I'm like I said, I'm from Minnesota, right? So I'm from the woods. So there wasn't a lot of magic around uh, anywhere near me, and especially other people my age into it. So I didn't have any friends that were into it. I didn't have anybody I knew that lived close or went to my school that I could share and have that like excitement with.
Right.
And so, and this is also when, the internet wasn't really a thing quite where there wasn't social media or there wasn't YouTube or Facebook or anything. Yeah, I mean, Facebook came later, but it's still so very, very, very in its infancy, right? And so, trying to find message boards or chat board, that was like impossible, to share it with. So, so that was so it was a slow go, process as far as that goes, and just trying to find resources of books and everything. But it was just something that I just kind of stayed the course with, and such. Sorry, is he being too loud? I have, my parrot right here. I just didn't know if the microphone was picking it up, so I'm just trying to give him some attention because he gets jealous,
Yeah,
He's
no,
getting
no.
jealous.
No, I mean, you can totally show them off to everyone because we're going to
Okay.
talk about your birds a little later. But
Sure.
yeah. No, no worries. No
All right,
worries.
because I just know the microphone is like right here at his beak. Yes, and so he gets a little,
Yeah.
little
What's his
jealous.
name?
This is Spike, and he turned 17 last week.
Wow, 17.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So he's been with you your whole career.
Yeah, pretty much. I got him at 5 months old. Yeah, he was 5 months when I got him, and so
Okay.
yeah, I've taken him pretty much everywhere. Just North America and Canada. I haven't taken him over to Europe or anything because it's a process that I wouldn't want to, him to have to go through that because it's a long flight and he'd have to go in a special animal container thing, and I don't want to do that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's your baby. I get it. And
yeah.
so, yeah. No worries, no worries. So then, how did you find the inspiration to keep pushing through when there wasn't anything like that around you?
It became, well, I mean, I started doing shows and getting paid, so that's helpful, right? That's helpful. And so yeah, so like since there wasn't anybody around, and I would show my family a little bit, right? But I kind of kept it really like almost like I had a separate identity. I didn't have, because since there wasn't anybody around to really jam with this stuff. And so I didn't really show anybody, but it was just kind of like my little secret identity, like I was actually a spy, or like I was, like a superhero that jumps in a phone booth or something. But so it was just, I mean, yeah, getting paid was one thing that was good, and I had moved away when I turned 18, right? I moved to Chicago because I wanted to keep going. I wanted to keep performing to some degree and try and make a living at it, right? And
Mhm.
so that's where I ended up going to art school. I went to an art school so I could get my degree with that, so I could combine and use the knowledge from that in in like photography and film and then editing, video editing and Photoshop, graphics and stuff like that. So I could take that and apply it to my business as a magician to try to further, you know, uh, awareness, promotion, and stuff. So then I didn't always have to hire people. So, and then I wouldn't have to pay them either because I was doing it myself. And
Mhm.
so that was one thing that helped, kind of alleviate a very costly aspect of entertainment. And so with that, that's really what also kind of helped is getting out of Minnesota, because I was kind of like, and I don't want this to sound like I'm bragging, but I kind of became a big fish in a small pond there. I kind of it had gone as far as I could go with it by the time I was 18, at least in Minnesota. And
Mhm.
again, this is still when the internet was, I mean, it wasn't new, but there wasn't really YouTube or anything like that either. So, to try to, going viral wasn't a thing yet, so I could, now you can be anywhere really in a way. And, but back then you couldn't. So I had to go to the closest, big city metropolis to try to seek my fortune or whatever, as, if we want to quote some Dickens or whatever. But, and so I couldn't afford New York City because, yeah, no way, and then it was like LA. No, I'm not really a fan of Hollywood or LA, or that part of California. Northern California is great, but I don't really like Southern California. And so I was like, well, that's not going to happen. I'm not going out there. And so Chicago was just a natural fit because I knew some other people there. I had some friends there and stuff. Uh, so that was kind of what helped too, is going there and being forced to start over, because I didn't have a clientele, so I had to start all over again. But now I could like go with a clean slate in a way and build from there. And that's kind of what I did. I did like kid shows again. I went back to birthday parties. And I was a full-time like kids and family magician. And then at nights or on the weekends, then I'd be going to like, the industrial nights or goth clubs or whatever, and opening for, DJs, or there'd be, some, bondage fest or whatever. And then I'd see the teacher that I just did the, school assembly for, and that didn't happen. But, I always thought it could have, that'd be weird, right? Like I just did,
Yeah. Not
but
surprising.
right, yeah, I mean, whatever people want to do, but yeah, so I would, go and then work at those kind of events, yeah, at night or on the weekends and stuff too. And then kind of showing up for class at university when I felt like it.
True. So then instead of having an audition like most actors or singers do, because that's not what you were going for, how did you obtain work? Like what was your first big gig that you actually got excited to do?
um yeah, it was a lot of word of mouth, actually. And so that's kind of how, yeah, since it wasn't, like you said, like it wasn't like an audition or anything, it was just a lot of word of mouth. But I had done an event that was it was in Ohio, and is because I had won a contest, right? So I had worked on this act, and I had taken to compete with it, because to get awards on your resume, I thought at the time, I thought, well, maybe that would help too, uh, to have these awards or accolades included in my resume to build from. And so I won the contest, and so if you win, you get to be part of this big kind of show, not a showcase, but it was a show for the public where every year they bring in these magicians from all over the world and do this one night only kind of show for the public. And I was one of them that got chosen because of that. And it turns out, at the time I was 17. So then it turns out the guy who was acting as the stage manager, which is the guy who kind of oversees everything in a show like that, he was at the time the president of the Magic Castle in Hollywood. And he said, hey, have you ever thought about working the castle? And going back to what I had said, a minute ago, I was like, nah, not really, and and he was like, well, would you want to? And I said, well, I'm not even a member, because you have to be a member to even get in. I said, I'm not even a member, and I'm not 21, because that's the other thing. You have to be a member and be 21. Not just anybody can get in there, right? And he said, well, would you want to work, at the castle? And so I said, well, sure. I'm not knowing like where's where's this going. I didn't know that this guy was the president, because I don't know anything. I'm 17. And so Eddie goes, well, I'm the president of the Magic Castle, and I'll make sure that happens, like, let me get your business card. So then I give him, and then yeah. So that that was like one of the first big things, like kind of the first big like holy shit moment, like maybe this is going in the right direction now, feeling like stuff is paying off, hard work and rehearsals and all that. So yeah.
So then how do you come up with these amazing ideas for your shows? Because it's completely different from any other magic show that I've seen.
I don't know, sometimes it's just like watching a movie. Like I've used this example quite a bit because I think it, it can be understood maybe because without giving away any magic secrets too, so I had seen and this kind of almost fits like what you had asked earlier too about like picking the music and stuff. I had seen Reservoir Dogs when I was really young, and the scene where Michael Madsen is cutting off the police officer's ear and dancing around to Steeler's Wheel, I didn't I just knew without sounding like a psychopath, I knew as a little kid that I liked that. I got it, when I probably shouldn't have, but I got it.
Mm-hmm.
I got what Tarantino was going for or whatever. Like I got it, and I was like, man, I'd like to do magic like that someday, like and make that feeling and make that like, the two things coming together, just this, not as gory as, maybe, because I'm not pouring gasoline over people or whatever, like Michael Madsen did in the movie, but, like just the dancing around to the Steelers Wheel music, and then doing something so gory or even disturbing, or whatever, putting them together. I had never seen that before and never felt how that made me feel. And I always thought like, man, I'd like to do something like that. I don't know how, I don't know. And I'm also, I'm like 12 at the time, right? So my resources were very limited, but just that's something that stuck in the back of my head for a long time. And that's what was the real sort of inspiration for that lifesaver bit that I do, with the dental floss and sawing into my neck and stuff. That was inspired from the Reservoir Dogs scene, so kind of even circles around and goes back and answers, more specifically like with the music or the idea and stuff. And like, even then I didn't know what I was going to do, but I had an idea of what I wanted to make people feel with it,
Right.
So sometimes it goes like that, with these ideas. It's just seeing something and feeling it and going like, I want to try and get as close to that as I can,
Yeah. So I've seen your shows in person, and I've seen you on television for many years. I followed you. And so when I was in the audience recently, I always hear the gasp, the gasp that they do when you do some of your tricks, especially the one with the razor blade in the neck and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
is that like the kind of energy that you're going for? Because I love when you pull somebody up on stage and you're messing with them and they're kind of creeped out. Like they're really creeped out. You blindfold them and they have to trust you. So that moment right there, how do you feel in that moment when you're doing that to someone?
It's in a, this is gonna maybe sound weird. In a way, it's therapeutic. It's like therapy for me in a way.
Yeah.
it lets me get things out that I don't know how to get out otherwise. Um, it's also an opportunity for me to vicariously live through them because, once you get so far into magic, I always describe it as like uh, taking the red pill and going into the matrix. Once you go in, you can't go back, right? And so I'm in the matrix. I can't go back. I don't know what it feels like to see a magic trick and feel wonder anymore. Ever since I don't even remember the last time I felt that, because as a magician, you know what to look for and you almost can't help it. And you can't help it in a way where it's like, I know exactly what just happened. Great, great performance or great idea, great work or whatever, but I know exactly what just happened. I don't feel wonder, anymore. And so being able to vicariously live that out through the audience is maybe that's what's the therapeutic part of it. I don't
Right.
know, but that's that's what I go for, even though like it is like can be mildly gory or intense or however you want to describe it. At the end of the day, I still want them to feel amazed or feel wonderment, and I want to go on that ride with them.
Yes, of course. So Amando Martinez asked a question. He's actually a fan, and he wanted to know, let's see here. Aha. So what is your favorite trick? Do you prefer stage shows or up close magic? And has the trick ever gone wrong?
Yeah, so yeah, tricks gone wrong lots of times, but it's like, it's sort of like being a musician. If you screw up a note or something, you can kind of cover it up. Same thing, I guess, with magic in a way. Like, stuff goes wrong and you have to think on the fly, or like pro wrestlers, they have to change a match, on the fly and cover up an injury that wasn't supposed to happen, and so just to get through to the end of the bit. And magic's kind of like that. So yeah, I mean, stuff's gone wrong. um and it's just a matter of like, yeah, covering it up or hiding it, because if it goes wrong, uh they're really, if it goes so wrong and you give into it, there's really not much you can do to cover it up, because if a trick goes wrong, well, that wasn't my card, or that's not the word I was thinking of, then it's like, well, shit, I got nothing, so you got to be able to like adapt and go with it like that. um I really don't mind either one, whether like big on stage or up close stuff. I like both. I just like to be able to perform, really, but most of the time I'm getting hired to do, uh, bigger stuff on stage, that sort of thing. But I like both, just to be able to, uh, yeah, just to be able to perform for people. It's all that really matters in the end. And then what was it? Oh, favorite trick. I don't really have one so much. I mean, I like doing the act with the birds just because I feel like we're a team, and that was the first real act or anything that I've done, that I've been doing for so long, probably one of the longest things I've done. And it's, that's the act, and it's evolved, right? It's evolved over time, but that's the act that I got hired to do, that Magic Castle gig, and my first real tour, and all of that. So I feel like these guys are like, we're a team and we're a band of brothers,
Right, right.
going in, and so it's that's that can be fun for me, and so if I don't, like I said, I don't really have a favorite, but if I absolutely had to choose, the bird act, for that reason, just because of like the unity and yeah, just feeling like we're our own little faction. So.
So then how did you come to train the birds to be part of the act?
I did a lot of research, read a lot of books and got audio books and DVDs and all that, and then seeked out the help of other folks too that that I know that had done, stuff with bird training and things like that. And, and trial and error, a lot of trial and error, because also like, just like anything, like any animal, they're going to do what they want to do whenever, like, no matter how much you train them, at the end of the day, it's really going to be up to them if they want to cooperate or if they want to go into business for themselves or whatever. So, getting that personality, knowing their personalities too, is just sort of thing you have to adapt to their own little quirks, because they are just like any animal too, like they all have their own little things.
So how did you get on Penn and Teller's Fool Us? Like, tell us a little bit of stuff that we didn't see on camera.
Yeah, so that happened. So I was working for a different company. I was contracted with a different company, different show that I was on tour with. And I'd been with them for like 5 years since the beginning, and I was really just over it. It wasn't what I thought it was gonna end up being, and blah blah blah. So I quit this company and this tour, and I wanted something to just sort of be my, or represent me getting back to being me again, and being able to fully, just do how I want to do it, how I want to be, and that was an opportunity that came up, and I thought, well, I'm gonna go for it. Not gonna fool them, didn't expect to fool them going in, but just rather it was, in my mind, it was more so like a showcase,
Right.
for me to be getting back on my own again after for so long. So that's how I went. I had to do it, and they were really cool. I had known, I didn't really know Penn, but I had known Teller for several years. Not close, but we know each other, and they've been nice to me in the past and stuff. And so I aligning with that was, I thought, a good thing too. And so it was really good experience to work with them and shoot that and everything. And despite what not everybody, but a lot of people think, the whole thing with Allison was totally not set up. That was, everything was real. Her reactions were real. None of that was fluffed or anything. That was just raw, and let's run with it and see what happens. And she was freaking out for real, so much so that they after that, she said to the producers, I found out later, she said to the producers that no more help. She's not going to help magicians anymore, or like be the person to help anymore, unless she knows exactly what she's going to have to do, because she was so freaked out and uncomfortable with that whole thing.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's something that can happen, getting back to, to like, in the end, you still want people to feel wonder, but I guess she was a little overly freaked out on that one. So,
Right.
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
And then you made an appearance on America's Got Talent several times, actually. And then the audience there, I love it. I love their faces. I love the judges when you come out. They kind of like, I don't know about this guy. He's all weird and stuff. And then you amaze them.
Yeah. It was that same thing, like with the lifesaver thing and the dental floss and Howie and stuff. Sorry, I got my doves flying around here too. They're getting exercise. Yeah. And so even with that, like he didn't know, Howie didn't know what was going to happen. That was a genuine reaction, and that was something I had suggested to the director. Because I thought exactly that it would get a reaction. It's something, to create ratings, just like with Fool Us, when I went on AGT as the contestant, not the guest. I just wanted to make good TV. It was more important for me to make good TV than to try and be the winner, because if you're making good TV, that means it's something that's mutually beneficial with me and the show, right? So they actually wanted me to do the birds. I didn't want to do the birds. I wanted to do the lifesaver because I'd already had video of the bird act, so I didn't need any. That's how I was thinking. Like, no, I don't want to. I already have video of that. I don't need another piece of video of the bird act. I want to do some of these other things, and one of the things that I had sort of pitched to them was the lifesaver, and they weren't on board until I said, well, usually when I'm done, I do this, and I drop the floss on the lap of somebody in the front row. Then they were like, wait a minute. And I said, that could be Howie. And then they went, oh, yes. We're not going to tell him. We're not going to tell anybody. You've told us that's too many people already, so like, that kind of thing. And so they were cool with it. And then, like, even though, it was his germophobia, or I don't even know I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. But even though that was behind why I did it, we've talked several times every time I've been there as a guest and stuff. He's been very kind, and he'll come up and we'll chat and all that, and he gets it. He knows why it was a thing, and he was cool with it.
Yeah. So then what advice would you have to some up and coming magicians, a little Dan somewhere else that wants to aspire to be you?
I'm not the best person to give this advice or give this kind of advice, because although I've been blessed with a lot of success in many ways, I know I've walked away from a lot of good opportunities that sometimes you think back and you go, ooh, maybe I should have just done that instead of but I don't know, just if you're willing to do it, stick to your guns and be you. Don't let people that hire you or try to promote you, try to turn you into something else. You gotta just be yourself first, and not to, kind of like I was saying as well, don't forget that in the end it shouldn't be about us. It should be about the audience, and their experience, and letting them be able to have wonder and feel that amazement. So it's so strong. It's such a strong gift that we can give people as magicians, and not a lot of people respect it anymore, in my opinion, or as much as it should be. And I think that's important to not forget.
Right. Well, you definitely deliver that wow factor. Because I was sitting in the audience with my kids, like they've never seen you in person. Well, actually, no, I took them to see you once, but they were too little to remember.
Oh, so okay.
I brought them in again, and they were like, wow, especially at the end when your bird came flying almost close to us and then went back. They were amazed. So I love that wow factor, because even as an adult, I'm like, how did he do that? That trick that you do with your mask, where you pull off your mask and there's
yep.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Thank
so
you.
Do you have like a little trick that you'd like to show us?
Yeah, hold on. Let me I can show something quick that I've been working on. It's very simple. That's not it, but Spike says hi. You can say hi to everybody.
Spike. Oh my God, that's awesome. Oh, he's headbanging. Yeah.
Yeah, a little show off. Are you done? Are you done? Can you go sit nice, please? Sit nice right there. Okay. No barking. He barks too. He learned how to bark, because they repeat stuff that they hear. So he starts to bark sometimes. But
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's silly. He's a good boy. You're a good boy. Yeah. All right. I don't know if this is. I'm gonna try to not to have my headphones get in the way too much. But it's just a trick with some coins. This is a Chinese coin here. This is a copper coin. This is from Mexico. It's a centavos, and then this is a $50, right? It's kind of like based off the old game that you played growing up. We called it sardines, where you go group of kids go out and hide, and there's one that has to go and find them. It was sort of like kind of sort of like hide and go seek in a way, but we call it sardines because then as people went to, the people that went to hide, right? So if these coins are the ones that, if the brass and the Chinese coins are the ones that are going to go hide, I'm going to have them over here in this hand. And if the $50 is here, right? Now, which one do you want to say, the Chinese and brass coin or $50?
The $50.
$50. Okay, so we'll use the $50, right? And so the brass and the Chinese coins are going to be the hiding ones, and they're going to be hiding. And the $50, since that $50, that's what we'll use, is the one that has to go find them, just like before. But as the game was with sardines, the game was that once they went to try to find you, if you look, those two coins now go away, because as the $50 the ones trying to find them, they always have to run back to home base.
Oh,
Like
wow.
that's how that goes. So that's just a little something quick. It's hard to do stuff through the screen like this sometimes too, because it's, magic is really good. I like to be able to, getting back even to that question earlier, performing on stage or up close. It's something that, if you were right here, I'd put them in your hand and it would happen in your hands, and so that's just like, again, just such a strong gift, that you can give this, getting back to like wonder and stuff and all that. When it, to watch it, it's, it's fine, but to get to feel it happen can be really, really cool,
Yeah.
So
I mean, that was cool still,
oh, thanks.
even through Zoom.
Yeah, it was just something I had here. I got the coins here because I'm in my dressing room, right? So like between shows or before the show when we have to come in and get set up, if I get set up early, I'll sit and work on, little things and try and see if they can find their stride,
So let everyone know where they can see you, where they can follow you, give them all the info.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if you just go to my website, dansperry.com, that portals out into everything else, the Instagram, the Facebook. Facebook, though, is different. Everything's just at Dan Sperry, like on Instagram and stuff. But Facebook is facebook.com/Dan Sperry official. That's the official page. Don't look at any of the other 8 fake accounts made by angry ex-girlfriends. Just go to the official one and say hi there.
Thank you so much for being a guest on my show. I really appreciate it. I'm a fan. I love you.
Thanks
Okay.
for having me on.
Yes, thank you so much. So for all of my fans that are watching the show, this was Dan Sperry. Okay, make sure that you follow him on all the socials. Until then, stay safe, stay humble, and always do it with me, Dan. Stay
Wait, we
fabulous.
gotta do this. We gotta do it. You're gonna say it. Ready?
We gotta do it. We gotta do it. Ready?
Ready.
1,
Okay.
2, 3. Stay
You
fabulous.
can do it. You can do it. Lift up your arms. Do it. Okay, that's close enough.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, close enough.
Love it.
Yeah, is that funny? Was that funny? Okay.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
All right. See you.